Hello everybody and welcome back to Tehillim Treasures, where every week we go through two chapters of Tehillim, from the very first chapter until the very last. This week we'll be doing a Mitzvah Shem, Kapitel Yotes and Kapitel Chaf. And we have two wonderful sponsors. Our first sponsor is Chazaq. The Chazaq organization has been providing exceptional content for us to grow, to be able to better appreciate who we are as Yidden, and to appreciate and connect to the Rabbeinu Shalom. And Chazaq does exceptional work, especially in the area of helping public school children go to yeshiva. In the last 5 years alone, Chazaq has sent 1,200, that's like a little army, of children from public school to yeshiva. If you can help them at PSTY, public school to yeshiva, at Chazaq with a Q.org. The second sponsor is chickensforshabbos.com. Chickensforshabbos.com is an excellent resource for those people that need it, the Melamdim, the Rebbeim, the Agunis, the women who are alone, the Grushas, the divorced women who don't have enough for Shabbos, they don't have enough for shoes, they don't have enough sometimes for clothing, they live very difficult lives, and your dollars will go to a very wonderful and exceptional cause. Please do everything you can to help them at chickensforshabbos.com. We begin with the 19th chapter of Tehillim. And every once in a while you come by a kapitel of Tehillim where it's very recognizable, and this is one of those kapitels of Tehillim. This is from Psukei de Zimra on Shabbos. And the heavens will tell over the honor of Hashem, Umase Yodav Magid HaRakia, and his handiwork, the Rakia, will tell over as well. This pasuk, or this chapter of Tehillim, has a very beautiful pasuk. Pikudei Hashem Yesharim Misamchei Leiv. Those who keep the mitzvahs, they understand that it will gladden the heart. There's a Medrash Shmuel. Medrash Shmuel is a commentary on Pirkei Avos that says, "V'hatoira v'hasimcha achem hein v'lo yispardu." Torah and Simcha are brothers, and they will never be separated. They will not separate themselves. People have to understand that very often we think of mitzvahs and limud HaTorah as a burden, as a yoke. It's true, there's a concept called Kabbalas Ol Malchus Shamayim. We accept upon ourselves the yoke of heaven. However, we must appreciate that a mitzvah is meant and will gladden our heart. No one ever ate a huge meal, a tremendous meal of endless gluttonous food, and said, "I'm so happy I stuffed myself to the gills." You will never feel good about eating 6 pieces of chocolate cheesecake. You might enjoy the first piece, the second, maybe even the third, by the 6th, you're going to be ready to vomit it all up. It's not enjoyable. And yet, no one ever said, after they performed the mitzvah, "I'm so upset I did it. It really doesn't feel good." Whether it's learning, or it's davening, and connecting to Hashem, or you do an act of chesed, you feel good about yourselves. Pikudei Hashem Yesharim Misamchei Leiv. Mitzvahs and Torah gladden our heart. It makes us happy. Happiness is not found in riches. Happiness is not found in superficial beauty, in external items, in materialistic things. Happiness is found in connecting to Hashem, in learning Torah, in doing mitzvahs, in doing kindness to your fellow man. That's where happiness is found. I want to tell you a remarkable story. A story that happened. I know the people that it happened to. There is a tremendous Talmud Chacham in Eretz Yisrael. He was nifter already, but a few years ago, he had been suffering with Alzheimer's for years. And Nebuch, even though he was a brilliant Talmud Chacham, but Alzheimer's had robbed him of the joy and the experience and the ability to learn Torah. His family had a very difficult time. They were taking care of him. They were being misharis him. And There was a chassan in the family, and the doctor told them about an experimental pill that if you take the pill, and I want to issue a disclaimer, I know nothing about the medical history behind this. I've told over the story before, and people have asked me where they can get this pill. I don't know. You speak to your doctor. I'm not sure it's available, but it was at that time. And this individual took a pill that brought him out of his Alzheimer's for a short period of time. And they thought perhaps for his granddaughter's wedding, it would be a beautiful idea if he could take the pill and he'd know what's going on, even if only for a few hours. They spoke to the doctor told them they could do it. They gave their grandfather the pill, and he took the pill, and all of a sudden, he knew where he was. And they said, quick Zaidi, we're going to get you ready for the chasana. There's a chasana tonight. And he said, I'm not going. He said, you're not going? But it's the chasana. That was the whole purpose of this. And he said, I have a few hours. I'm going to learn instead. How could I have a few hours? Now imagine, I don't even know how this is possible. But I know the people that it happened with. I know the individual. And he opened his Gemara and he learned for 15 hours straight until he slipped once again back into the world where he no longer understood or recognized anyone or anything. They did it one more time, and as soon as he was awakened, he went right back to the sugya where he had been holding before. Pikudei Hashem Yesharim Misamchei Leiv. You want to give somebody true happiness? This tzaddik understood that true happiness comes from Limud HaTorah. This next chapter of Tehillim is the chapter of Mizmor Chaf, perhaps one of the best known chapters of Tehillim. Lamnatseach Mizmor LeDavid. It's the chapter that we recite between Ashrei and Uval Tzion every day. Yancha Hashem b'yoyim tzara. Hashem should answer us on a day of tzara, on a day of suffering. And Rashi explains that David HaMelech composed this chapter when he sent Yoav, his general, to fight. He stayed behind, and what did David HaMelech do? He davened for his soldiers. According to the Chassid Yaivitz, it was composed when David HaMelech became older, and his men no longer needed him to be led in battle. And what did he do? He cried out, Rabbeinu Shalom, my men are fighting a war. Yancha Hashem b'yoyim tzara. Please, Rabbeinu Shalom, help my men. Help my soldiers. Help their lives be spared. Help them be okay. Help them be victorious. The Tikkunei Zohar says that if you count the words in this capital of Tehillim, you will find that there are 70 words in this parak. There are 70 nations of the world, the Svarim tell us. 35 are headed by Esav, 35 headed by Yishmael. Together, the 70 nations of the world and the Jewish people are like a sheep among all those wolves. And very often, we feel, and especially these days, we feel like we are being hounded. We're being surrounded. They are waiting to pounce on us. Imagine a little shepsela, a little sheep, and there's all types of animals, all wolves surrounding him, ready to tear him limb by limb. That is the Jewish people. The Jewish people are a sheep among wolves, and yet we're protected by the Rabbeinu Shalom. And we must understand that it's true, there are certainly different nations, and our enemies have very, very, very powerful ammunition and powerful tanks and air force and navies that can destroy us in a moment, in a split second. However, the kapitel continues, Eile v'rechev ve'eile v'asusim. They have horses, they have chariots, they have missiles, they have guns. V'anachnu b'shem Hashem Elokeinu nazkir. But David HaMelech cries for his soldiers. We know the name of Hashem. Heima koruv and afalu, they will fall. V'anachnu kamnu v'anisaydod, but we will be strengthened because Hashem hoishia, Hashem will save us. Hamelech yaneinu v'yom koreinu. How many wars have there been that the Jewish people have been involved with ever since the times of the Navi? But certainly recently we've experienced as a nation, Klal Yisrael has been under attack by the different Arab nations of the world. Yidden walk wherever they walk and they're attacked. Yomam v'layla. I was one time in Poland and I was there on a trip. I was helping lead a group. We were touring through the different Mekaymis HaKadoshim in Poland and Nebuch, the places where the Jewish people have suffered. We visited the concentration camps. We visited Madanik. We visited a crematorium where our Babas and Zaydas were placed into the ovens. We saw piles of ashes. We went to Auschwitz and we saw what the Ribbono Shel Olam allowed to happen there. The nations of the world have been looking to destroy us. And yet, we've survived. When I was on this tour, I was with my father. My father should be gesund. He's Kenai Nahara, much older than everybody else on the trip. And my father asked if he could say a few words. And we went towards Auschwitz, and my father spoke. Now my Zayda was in Auschwitz. And my father spoke and he said, why am I here? He was probably 30 to 35 years older than everybody else on that trip. And my father said, why are we here? I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here because there's a story with Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch that Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch said, you know, one day the Ribbono Shel Olam is going to ask him, Nu Shamshon Raphael, did you see my Alps? Did you see the beauty of my Alps? Did you see the snow-capped mountains, the breathtaking view and scenery? My father said, I believe that one day I am going to come up to my Maker. And the Ribbono Shel Olam is going to say, Nu Abi, did you see what I had to do to my children in Auschwitz? The Ribbono Shel Olam puts us through the tsaros. And yet here we are, and we look back and we see what's going on in the world, and we see the yeshivas, and we see the Beis Yaakovs, and we see the incredible chasadim, and we see the Torah, and we see the shuls. Hashem Yishia Melech Yaneinu V'Yom Kareinu. We will go through tsaros. There's no question about it. But the Ribbono Shel Olam wants us to know, when we go through these tsaros, there's a reason. We have to be connected to the Ribbono Shel Olam. We have to be able to hold on to Him, because as we, the sheep, go through the forest and we're attacked by the wolves, we have to know that the Ribbono Shel Olam will always be there to answer our call. Until next time, be well.